When an epic snowfall imprisons the residents of a tiny village of Kishka, young Theodore Sutton proposes the villagers build a catapult to fling him and the 6 of the village's bravest and strongest out in search of a solution.
The catapult hastily assembled, Theodore and the heroes are launched over the snow and into the grandest of adventures.
Whimsical and humorous, dark and mysterious, heartfelt and sincere, this play weaves a fantastical Grimshian tale for the entire family.
Hello, my name is Parsa, and I play Narrator 3 in WSSC's production of The Snow.
It was as wide as a lake, too deep for Kishka's 200 people to dig through.
So, Narrator 3, along with the other 2 members of our trio, Narrator 1 and 2, we narrate the story, exposition, basically stuff like that, and sometimes we talk with the actual main characters.
So my name's Ebony and I play Wren of the Raven Hearts in this year's production of The Snow.
I think we're all ready to go. We are Rin and Wren of the Raven Hearts.
So Wren is a twin, her sister being Rin, and she volunteers to help Theodore find a solution to the snow. And unfortunately, on a certain catapult ride, she dies. She does not survive.
Hi, I'm Montana. I play Narrator 2 in this year's production of The Snow.
And beyond the house was the darkness, and it did not look inviting, and it did not look uninviting. It looked indescribable. But
No, hang on a minute. We just described it.
a bit ago.
Exactly.
And how exactly does one deal with a thing they can't describe?
Yeah, just ignore us.
Real nice. No,
Bloody hell, why do we have to bring him? He's such a little tosser.
What? Kind of stuck mid.
Well, my character is one of a group of 3 of narrators who help tell the story of The Snow, so of Theodore.
Hi, I'm Kalani, and I play Connor the Calm and Guard 2 in this year's production of The Snow.
So, if you can tame the grasses and the seas,
Easily.
how about snow? I mean, that's kind of our issue.
What? Did I mention snow?
Okay, I just...
If I could do snow, I would have said snow! Are you serious?
Okay, well, thank you, Connor, and...
The Calm! My full title is Connor the Calm! Connor the Calm is very shouty for someone who's supposed to be calm. I think at the start, Connor the Calm really just wants to show off, so he comes up to Theodore and the other heroic, brave people and just gets full of himself and tries to make everyone think he's really cool, but he's really not. He's kind of rude.
Hi, I'm Savannah and I played Margareta Kishka in this year's production of The Snow.
Punch, and a cold became a snow. Just a flake or 2 at first, but enough to make me worry. So I said to the people, let us sow food and grow food and store lots below food. But they ignored me, as I was small.
So basically, in the backstory of the play itself, I was a young female living in a village and I was sort of the only one who could foresee the consequences of everything that was happening, and I planted enough crops and everything to provide for my village, but they sort of didn't really listen to me. And then once obviously they realised that I was right from the start, they asked for my forgiveness and I unfortunately said no, so they all left, and that's sort of how the story itself started. And my sadness is sort of the reason for the darkness and the snow and everything that sort of happened, and eventually they come and they find me, and I sort of tell them my story and they put together the pieces and eventually get to fix it.
So I'm Faye and I was the student director and the stage manager for The Snow. For the first part, I would sit in the audience and I'd yell at the kids. Not really, but I'd tell them what they need to fix and I'd tell them like what looks good, what doesn't look good. And then I got to experience what a stage manager does. So I get to tell the kids when to go on and when, and if something goes wrong, Miss Gower will talk to me over the comms and then I'll have to fix that situation. So it was a lot of work doing that.
So the problem that the people of Kishka faced was that lack of food due to the snow covering their crops. And, Theodore and Oliver, originally their intent was to find a solution to the snow. Finding out later that it was the darkness that was causing the snow due to the fighting that was going on between the two villages, and eventually they managed to solve this problem, solving the snow, by bringing the two villages together and ending the war, basically.
So the two villages in the play came from two brothers, two love interests that Margareta had, and they both left her when she denied them food after they sort of mistreated her. And they were two brothers who argued about her because they both loved her, and it doesn't give much context around if she loved them back, but I like to think that she did, but she was just hurt by what happened. And then they both went off when they left and they started their own two villages, both named after her, and that's sort of where the villages feuding came from, even though as generations moved on, none of them really knew why they didn't get along.
One of the things I enjoyed most was probably the amount of creative liberty we had, because I know with Puffs we had a lot to refer back to, which was good because it was like a good basis, but this time around it was a lot of, you got to really work on your characters and figure out what you wanted to do. So like my character, for example, went through like a lot of changes before I finally figured out who I wanted her to be. So yeah, that's probably one of my favourite things about the show.
I have to say my favourite scene was definitely the birds scene. Both of the bird scenes. They're just so funny, and it's just a great way to lightheartedly introduce some comedy before it gets to my sort of more heavy and more condensed scenes.
My favourite scene probably has to be the yeast scene. It's such a fun scene to do, and just seeing the audience faces, getting to interact with the story and not having to sit there and just watch it, being able to feel it as well and being a part of the story. I just love it.
It was really interesting to watch the characters, just the entire show, how they made their characters, not specifically a scene, but they brought life to their characters and they brought life to the show, and they just did such an amazing job with that. So Gower was originally thinking with the bird poo scene that she would drop a human poo, not a real one, but a paper mache human poo from the ceiling and just have it there. And then she thought about it, and her wife was saying how do birds actually poop human poo? And so Gower went through this whole thought process of how do we make it more realistic and funny at the same time, and that was just such a good way of doing it. It was a really funny scene, and the fruit flies that were doing their scene, they did such an amazing job, and they learnt a routine, and they took time out of their lives to come and do this for us. So it was a great thing.
So it's always amazing to have an incredible set like this. We have a 7-foot tree just sitting there. Definitely makes our job easier, being able to imagine what it's like and being able to fit into our roles of the characters that we played, and being able to feel what it was like, what it would have been like if our characters were real.
I did help a little bit with the set. A lot of it was very much inspired by Gold Rush Australia and sort of more the 1800s, and a lot of it was just set to reflect the lives back then of a small village which were heavily impacted by the natural causes around them.
I really love the set aspect. I feel like getting to know the set is as important as getting to know your character, because you've got to move around the set as your character and you should know like all the little nooks and crannies where you can put props and all the things you can do to improve it. Like you should have ideas on the set being a character, because it's your home in your character.
So Darcy and I, we do a class called Music Styles and Composition, which is kind of like we get pieces to study and then we look at pieces and we create pieces off of things. So one of the things I did was the opening scene, which was kind of like the problem. So I really wanted to capture this idea of like a problem in the piece. So it would like start off really nice, but then it just slowly dwindled down to this really sad sounding piece to be like, we're in a problem. And I actually listened to this piece called Antarctica, which we studied, which kind of works because Antarctica and snow kind of go together. And then I created that piece based on one of the movements. And then at the end of the show, I created another piece that was kind of like the second part, and I called it The Solution. And it was kind of like the similar, but like a happier sounding version to be like the resolution of it's done, the solution is found.
It was amazing to work in such an environment because the people that you meet here are just incredibly talented, incredibly nice and kind people. And I guess part of it was, especially me, being new to this whole thing, you know, I could always find myself counting on them for support for anything really. So that was wonderful about this environment.
I really, I love coming to the PAC to rehearse, and seeing everyone. I come 30 minutes early anytime that I can to see everyone. And the social aspect of theatre is something so valuable. Definitely being in the snow, it's improved my teamwork skills. My making friends is so much easier when you're involved with people who accept you as you are. You walk into this environment to rehearse, to build your character, and you know that you make a bold choice and everyone's going to stand around you, and if they don't like it, they'll correct you nicely, and they're not going to just look at you oddly, and just they're so inclusive. And bold choices are so encouraged in this community, the theatre community. It just makes me so happy to be around these people. Yeah.
It's amazing just to be able to have the support, and not only of the teachers, but of the students as well, and of other teachers that aren't even involved in this experience.
Tanya Gower and Lisa Bektash have been so amazing throughout this entire experience. They never stop thinking. You see them in the middle of one of our theatre classes, Tanya would go, oh, I had this awesome idea, and you can just tell that she never stops, and she's just always thinking and lying awake in bed at night going, what can I do here? There was a whole situation with a roast chicken, and she had no idea how to make that happen, and with all her hard work and everything, she made all of this possible. And especially Miss Bektash, she helped students compose the music and did a lot of it herself. Even when she was in lockdown, for 7 days basically, she just sat there writing music for us, and we are all so grateful.
I know that when I was in middle years, I always had doubts on whether I wanted to do acting, but I always knew, because I never wanted to do it because I had this mindset of, oh, but that's not a real thing, I shouldn't do that. And then I got to year 10, 11, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a go. And it turns out to be one of the best things I've ever done in my life. So definitely do it. Don't let your doubts hold you back. I did, and when I got here, I just let it go and had a really good time because of it.
It was really nice to have you guys all see the show. We've been working on it for 7 months, and it's become just such a big part of our lives. The amount of tears shed after the last show on Saturday night by everybody was such an amazing thing, and everyone in the audience, we couldn't have done the show without you guys coming to watch it. So, and the support was just amazing, so thank you.
Hi, Wodonga seniors who are bringing the the snow to life prospectively tonight. I think when you're being shown this is the moment when curtains rise, which is pretty exciting. My name's Finn. I'm the playwright. I'm speaking to you from rainy Adelaide, about 9 hours away. And I just wanted to say I'm so excited for you all. I'm sorry I can't be there, but distance is a thing and life is a thing, and yeah, it's just not possible to get that far. But I really hope you've had a beautiful time with the journey leading up to this moment and all the discoveries that you've made along the way. And for me, they're always the most exciting part, not what exists on the page already, but all the things that you bring out of it and all the ways that you make it your own piece. So I hope that's been a lovely journey of discovering it for yourself and kind of stamping your own mark on it. And from here on, I hope the process is a lovely one. I hope the audiences are responsive. I hope the snow falls as it has to. I hope the warriors crash as they need to. I hope the adventure plays out as it warrants, and I hope everyone has a really good time with it. So thank you very much. It really means a lot to know that while I'm over here, you're bringing it to life over there. So cheers and have a good one.